Well, hey, everybody, it's Doug Jolly, the pastor of First United Methodist Church, and I want to take a moment to share with you about something that's really exciting and wonderful that we've been praying for and is now finally happening, and that is the restart of our in-person worship here at United Methodist Church. Now, we want everyone to know that we are restarting in June. We're restarting worship. We're not ready yet to restart Sunday school, youth or children's activities, the nursery, or the Wednesday night supper, or choir practice. Right now, we're just restarting worship at 11 o'clock. And as we all know, the coronavirus isn't gone yet. We are still having to be careful and follow the social distancing guidelines that are put out by the government and by hospitals and things like that. So I want to walk you through for a moment what that's going to look like when we gather for worship at 11 o'clock at First United Methodist Church. So join me on this journey as we talk about that together.
First of all, when you wake up in the morning, if you're not feeling good, if you're if you're coughing, if you have a temperature, stay home. You don't need to be coming to worship today. If you've got any symptoms, please just stay home and worship with us online.
So when you arrive for worship at First UMC and you come into the narthex, you're going to see this table all set up here with several things for you. We have hand sanitizer. Of course, we're trying to minimize you having to touch anything, but still it's here for you if you would like. We also have gloves that are free for anybody that would like to use them. And then we have masks. You are certainly invited to bring your own, but we have some that my wife and other ladies of the church worked hard to make for everybody. We've got child-sized ones and adult-sized ones that are already wrapped up and safe in a plastic bag. If you would like to, if you'd like to reuse your mask, if you want to write your name on this and put it back, you can put it in this box that says to be washed. And we will wash it to you and put a fresh filter in it and have it next week with your name on it. We will be, for our first Sunday and all first Sundays of the month, when we have communion, using prepackaged communion, which already has a piece of bread and pre-filled grape juice. This is to minimize any fears of transmitting disease through eating food together. So when you come in, you'll take as many as you need for yourself and your family group, and then you'll go on into the sanctuary where, let me show you what happens next. When you come into the sanctuary to worship, there will be bulletins already in the pews. So ushers won't be handing them to you. They'll already be out here in the pews. They'll be spread out 6 feet apart. And we ask everybody to come and to please sit and be 6 feet apart. Of course, families can sit in groups, but everyone else, we need to spread out and have a nice large sanctuary, and there should be room for everybody to maintain social distancing and sit 6 feet apart from each other. That possibly might mean that you might not get to sit in your favorite spot, or that somebody's going to have to compromise and move to a different spot. But we ask everybody to try to do this for everybody's safety and well-being. You'll have your mask. You are certainly welcome to put your mask on and to keep it on through the whole service. I realize some people wearing it for a whole 45 minutes is not comfortable, and I understand. But there's one time in the service where we really need to have it on, and that is when we sing. When we sing our 3 hymns or our doxology or Gloria Patri or anything like that, before you sing, you need to put your mask on. When we sing, we expel a whole lot more air than we do when we're just talking or breathing normally. So for safety's sake, we need to wear masks when we sing. When we're praying silently or sitting silently, if you want to remove your mask for a little bit, you can. But we ask that everybody put them on when it comes time to sing. Then, when we have Holy Communion, we will be using the prepackaged communion and taking it in our pews. We won't be coming forward and kneeling at the altar rail for the time being. We will not be passing the offering plate, but we will dedicate our offerings to God, and we will sing the doxology. Miss Beth will be doing a children's sermon on the Sundays that aren't communion Sundays, but the children are going to stay in their seats with their folks and not come forward. And then finally, when the service is over, I know this can be the most difficult part. We can't hug or shake hands when it's over. As I said in my letter, I know that's hard because I'd like to hug each and every one of you. But we can't do that. And I know that normally when our worship service is over, everybody kind of gets up and masses through the doors in clumps of people, and we hang out in the narthex talking and being together. For safety's sake, this is what we're going to do. When the worship service is over, I will make my way out. I'll go outside the door and stand there. And then our ushers will be dismissing you by rows, kind of like you would for communion, to go out. So we're not all bunched up. And as you go out through the doors, I'll be out there to wave at you or elbow shake you or air high five you. But for the time being, this is what we have to do in order to be safe. When you come out or come in of worship, either way, we do invite you, if you're able to give your tithe or offering on this particular Sunday, to take your check or your money, put it in an offering envelope, and put it in the collection plate, either on your way in or on your way out. This will, again, help us to minimize contact by having the plate be passed during worship. But we pray that as you worship God through the giving of your tithes, gifts, and offerings, you're able to place it in the plate with a prayer of thanks to God, being able to worship him by giving back to him a portion of what he has blessed you with.
Okay, well, I hope you enjoyed that little trip through the sanctuary, and we look forward to seeing everybody that's able to come this Sunday, June the 7th. Now, in closing, let me just say, as I have been saying in several of our worship services during this pandemic, that we have to have grace and love with each other as we go through this process of rebooting in-person worship. I realize that some people are not ready to come back yet. Some of you may be in a high-risk group, and some of you may have a compromised immune system, and you have to say, I'm not ready, I've got to wait another month or two before I can rejoin you, and that's fine. We will continue to have our worship service be broadcast on Facebook Live and YouTube, and we invite you to worship with us that way. We're not going to use guilt on anybody and say, oh, you just have to have enough faith if you're to come. No, we're not going to do that. If you're not ready to come back, you just keep on worshiping at home and supporting us and praying for us like you're able to. For those that are able to come, we look forward to seeing you, and we look forward to the day when we can all sit next to each other, and we can take communion at the altar rail, and we can sing without having to wear masks, and we can hug and shake hands before and after worship. Until then, though, we're going to continue to be safe and respect the rules that our denomination and our officials have asked us to go through. But the important thing is that we're gathering together to worship God and to give him our hearts. And so we look forward to having you, whether in person or online, as we continue to lift up Jesus here at First United Methodist Church.